Like, where did the original drive come from? Because I think it's really interesting that you sort of went, right, you know, I don't want to trade time for money. I want to get out of the 9 to 5. Like, to have that realization, like, so early on, there are people probably listening who are, you know, dabbling a little bit in that, you know, or dreaming in that right now, where they're like, oh my gosh, like, do I want to leave my 9 to 5? What could that look like? So how did you discover that at such an early age? What led to that?
So 3 big pivotal things happened growing up. That's why. Number one was when I was about 15, parents got divorced. So I grew up really I would say I had a lot of nice, cool upbringing, you know, had all the cool, nice things. But then when I was 15, I lost the safety net of my home because mum and dad had gone to a horrible divorce, literally living out of caravans, hotels, hostels, all that sort of stuff. So it went from one extreme to another. So that impacted me a lot from a financial perspective because I was used to having the financial comfort of a home, and it had just been ripped away from me. Then the second thing happened when I was about 19, because I was a year 10 high school dropout. Parents would always like be fighting about not keeping me down, but the teachers were like, she needs to stay down. So anyway, so I'm in nursing. Here's the next pivotal moment. You know what I was really good at doing when I was younger? I was interviewing people, life experiences. So I was walking around all these different nursing homes and all the low care people who could look after themselves, or the elderly people. I'd be asking them questions about life, like how to do it better, what would they repeat, what would they do more of or less of, you know, what was the purpose of life, all of this sort of stuff. And there's just like some similarities, right? There's patterns, and people would say things like, be present, try not swap your time for money. It's not all about the job. And it's like, you know, about living an experience and make sure you travel and human connection and blah, blah, blah. So I had gathered this information about how to do life better or easier. So I was like, awesome, I'm going to do that. And so what I took away heavily from those conversations was people regret not building human relationships and networking, and because they're so worried about money and needing to make an income. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to work out how to make money, because that seems to be the thing that people were regretting in their later years.
Gratitude for the nursing journey.
Yes, gratitude for that nursing journey. I really am. I fucking learned a lot. And then this next pivotal thing happened. Then I was 23. I came home to my mum one day, and my mum was like, look, sweetie, I've just spoken to a financial planner, and this guy's just basically told me that I'm going to have to work every single day till I die. And I was like, oh, cool. That sounds fucked up. I don't want to do that. And then I was thinking to myself, and my mum looks after elderly people. And my dad was doing the same thing. And so my parents didn't have anything. They were financially fucked. Yeah, so by 21, I'm just like, oh, hang on, shock. Do I want to end up like my parents, where like they're now like they're getting old and fragile, and they've got physical jobs, like they're self-employed, but got physical jobs where like they, you know, it relies on their body. And I'm like, they're not going to be able to work. They're going to be financially fucked and on the road. So like, now I'm going to have to look after them. So that was the first thing. And there's some other stuff around family that was happening at the time where I was just like, okay, I'm the only one to look after both of my parents. Yeah. So that's when I was like, well, people are in property somehow, so I'm going to work it out. And then I knew no one who was successful in real estate, because fact is 90% of investors get stock on 2 properties. So it's very rare that you're going to know someone who owns more than 2 or 3 properties. And I personally didn't. So I just literally went to YouTube, and I typed into YouTube, how to build, I don't know exactly what I typed in, but property building, buying property, something like that, right? Whatever. And then I was going through the scroll hold, and then I finally found like this guy who was my original OG mentor. Because if it wasn't for that guy on YouTube, there's no one I would have learned what I did so rapidly. Because there was books, yes, and I'd got my hand on every single book that I could possibly read, but I was also extremely slow at reading. It's when I first read my first book, I said, I'm going to push through this fear of these teachers saying you can't read, blah, 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 blah. That was really, really hard. It still sometimes triggers me every now and again when I'm writing up an email or something, but
it's so limiting, like exactly, like to label somebody like that and to then be able to shake off that label, because again, there would be plenty of people listening to this, you know, and I had a tantrum, I think, to you the other day, you know, where I was saying about even my own journey with MS, you guys, oh my God. Like I think, you know, and I had a tantrum online the other day saying, I think it's so boring because it's just a label. It means nothing. And we are so much more than, you know, these silly little labels kind of thing. Here is Olivia. Olivia is amazing. And she's just out there and found her, you know, zone of genius, something she's, you know, uniquely attuned to and super fucking passionate about. It just gets to be that simple.
Yeah.